She's Kat.
And he's Mr. B.
Welcome to our channel.
Today we're so excited. It's been almost 41 years since Larry and I met. And we met when I was a reservation sales agent for Amtrak. And I worked on a special area with my friends Dawn and Karen, and sometimes other friends, but I remember these two in particular. And Larry was covering for another lady who was on vacation at her little depot in Decatur, Alabama. Back in those days, and we're talking in 1976.
Seems like yesterday.
It seems like yesterday, it really does. Back in those days, people didn't have computers at the smaller depots. So when someone came to ride the train, they would call the call center and confirm the space and ticket the person and get some codes and things. And at the end, the person who was making the ticketing the people, so that would be Larry in this case, had a special agent number, and they would say, I'm number whatever, and I would say my number to him. So at the time, and still, my favorite number is 5. Just so happens, Larry was number 5. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer, but it's going to be fun. Ms. Inman is who Larry covered for in Decatur, Alabama. And when all the other agents called in, we had one guy in Savannah called RD, and he'd say, hey baby, this is RD, the Red Devil. I'm gonna ticket this lady and I'm gonna tell you a joke. And that's the way most of them were. We would never date them. They were way too flirty. But when Ms. Inman would call from Decatur, Alabama, she'd say, this is the ticket agent in Decatur, Alabama. I'm ticketing reservation number 78592. And I would say, yes ma'am, Miss Inman, that's 2 round trip to Chicago. That's correct. And a lap baby.
You sound just like her.
That's the way she sounded. So she trained Larry to cover for her when she went on vacation. Larry worked for the actual Southern Railroad, and Amtrak paid them to put their agents in this tiny little Decatur station that they didn't have any Amtrak employees, so they kind of worked it with the railroad. So anyway, Ms. Inman trained Larry. So one day, all these other guys are going, hey, baby, this is number 5 in Hollywood. And I'd say, ooh, number 5, that's my favorite number. You know, we flirted with him. It was total fun. And then one day I got this call, and it was a man's voice, and he said, this is the ticket agent in Decatur, Alabama. I'm ticketing reservation number 53985.
I didn't sound like that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. And I told him what it was, and he confirmed it. And then I said, okay, how do you sign? And he said, I'm number 5 in Decatur. And I'd say, ooh, that's my lucky number. And he'd say, what's your number? And I'd say, 4167. And he said, that's almost my favorite number.
That was.
So,
but that was back in 1976
and
in the summer.
I was 23. And Larry was 26 at the time in that summer. He turned 27 in October.
And there was no social media.
There was no social media.
It was
just
landlines.
Long distance AT&T.
And letters.
And letters. And we're going to share some
That's why we're here today. We're
Yep.
going to share our very first letter that she wrote me, and the very first letter.
Well, a little background. Other than the background I gave you.
Okay.
So, I liked him.
40-year-old love letters.
I liked him. There was something about him. I wanted to talk to him a lot. And so we had pretty long telephone calls, and the manager would say, Wise, which was my maiden name, if Decatur calls, Delta or Boogie have to take it. Well, Delta was Dawn's nickname, and Boogie was Karen's nickname. You can't talk to Decatur anymore. So we started I wrote him a letter, and he wrote me a letter. And
They
then
smell a little musky. We saved them. We saved all our love letters.
We wrote all these letters to each other.
And we made lots of phone calls.
We made lots of phone calls. We had over $300 back in 1976 in phone bills because we talked. But the greatest part was we fell in love over the phone.
Yeah.
And the wonderful part of falling in love over the phone is that you don't have to worry about what you're wearing or how you look or how your breath smells. We just really got to know each other's heart. And so this is the very, very first glimpse into our relationship, and I'll share the letter. I'm going to read the one.
She wrote to me first.
I wrote to him, and you can see I even sent it to the wrong address, so it came back. And I wrote it to Larry Brewster. His name isn't Brewster, it's Brewer. In fact, my name isn't Brewster, it's Brewer now. But anyway, this is back in
And it had perfume on it, so it smelled really good. I don't think it still smells that good.
It smells
But
lovely.
I was real excited to get it, and so she's going to read what she wrote to me, and then
these are pretty stupid.
Yeah, they're
when
really
you go
stupid.
back and read them. But we're going to read them just like we wrote them. So September 3rd, 1976. Dear Larry, number 5. Okay? It's lots easier to talk on the phone than to write a letter. Here goes. This is my picture. I'm sitting in my favorite bentwood rocking chair. I told you I was ugly. My hair is cut in a wedge now, like Dorothy Hamill, the skaters. I have just recently moved home with my parents. I've decided to save up for a down payment on a house. After 5 years, I'm tired of apartment life. It's very hard living at home because I don't feel like it's mine. My parents are very understanding and supportive. Don't get the wrong idea. My mother is a very active, nervous type young woman, and my father is bossy and loud and mean, and I love him to pieces. All of my furniture is packed up at a movers and storage place. I have 2 dogs, Oscar and Hunter, and a black and white cat, Gilligan. She's a lady cat. I found her orphaned on an island. I like animals, although sometimes they are pests. I have several projects going on at one time. I always do this to myself. I'm crocheting a green Afghan, and I'm hooking a rug. It's an owl. I collect them due to my last name, Wise. And I'm a new Brownie Girl Scouts leader. And I just got swindled into 2 committees of the Amtrak Service Club. And I'm trying to read 3 different books all at one time. Help! And I'm just your average person. No brains, but real smart, you know. Did you say you owned a recording studio? I've never even seen one except on TV. I bet it's the most exciting and scary thing in the world to actually record a song. I'd love to someday, but I'll probably never will. The most rewarding thing I've ever done was write a song with a friend of mine. It's called Shadows of the Highway Lines. I wrote a terrific one with when I was 13, not really so hot. It was called Ralph Schwagenheimer. I still remember the tune. Larry, do you play the guitar or just have someone play for you? I hope you haven't forgotten about your record you're going to send me. Then I can be your number 5 fan. Did you say you were divorced or did I just make that up? Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I looked that up on an atlas. Have you ever gone to Wilson Dam, or does it just look interesting on the map? I was surprised at how big it seems. Is it real woodsy or hilly, or does it ever snow there, or is it all buildings? That's all. Why don't you drop me a line? 4167 Kathy.
Okay, now I don't know if my letter won't be that long because I wasn't much on writing letters. And I wrote it on railroad paper, just a plain old envelope. And I kind of drew some funky pictures on the back. You got to see these. Hold those up so they can see those. 4167, it's got those silly pictures. I can't believe I was still that crazy at 26. But anyway, we think we got these in order. I think this is the first one I wrote her, and it's not going to be nearly as long, and I didn't answer any of those questions much. But I will say something. I'm originally from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and I did have a recording studio back in 1974 and 75 and 76. I just sold it when we had started writing and everything, and I went back to work for the railroad. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, in Wilson Dam, my dad was a pipe fitter welder, and he worked on Wilson Dam, so yes, I knew that very well. So anyway, so here's my first letter, and I'm not as
Which
good at
I was
reading.
thrilled to receive.
It says, Dear Kathy, 4167, I got your letter Monday. I'm not much on letters either, and I damn sure can't spell or write very well. Your picture was lovely. You are a very good-looking girl. Then I got in parentheses, looking good for some reason.
Looking good. You know that's from.
Well, I guess that was a popular show back then for something, but it says, you are beautiful and you are out of sight. You are, wait, I know, Kid Dynamite. I was a poet and didn't even know it, see?
What
How
in the world?
crazy is that? I would have never wrote this guy back. Tell Oscar and Hunter and Gilligan, the lady cat, I said hi. I'm really going to miss not being able to talk to you on Fridays and Saturdays. You've got a really fantastic personality over the phone. And in your letter, and you must really be something else in person. I will send you my new record as soon as it comes out. Like I said, I'm not much on letters. Please write again real soon. Truly a 4167 fan. Larry J. Brewer, number 5.
Larry J. Brewer. I needed
That was
all that.
it.
Not just Larry J. Brewer.
So I left it. We've got a whole big plastic thing full of these things. I don't know. There's a lot of them. We're not going to read them all because some of them gets personal. The more we fall in love and the more we get to know each other. But we will read a few more. So this is just part 1.
But I will tell you guys that this is the first letter, September, right? And we were married January the 8th, Elvis's birthday, 1977.
Yeah, on January the 8th.
On January
And,
the 8th. So we got married really quickly. We really fell in love. And we've been married 40 years,
Yeah, and
as you know.
we got 4 wonderful children and 8 grandchildren. And this is just part 1. We will have a part 2 to this. I will try to put our wedding pictures, so stay tuned to the end. I will try to find a couple of old pictures, and I'll try to find that first picture where she was sitting in the rocker, and she sent to me. She also sent me another picture with a little railroad hat on. It was real cute. And she did look like Dorothy Hamill a little bit back then. She had that Dorothy Hamill haircut. But anyway, I think she's still beautiful, and she's still my favorite number, and she always will be. So I hope you enjoyed this, and do you have anything else to say?
Happy trails.
Happy trails.